Should you sell your house in Phoenix? That's what I'm talking about today, and it's starting now. Hey everyone, I'm Caitlin McKegg, a realtor here in Phoenix, Arizona. If you clicked on this video, then maybe you are thinking about selling your house in Phoenix, and I am here to tell you if now is a good time or not. Before I dive in, thank you to everyone who's reached out to me for advice, information, and help buying and selling real estate in Phoenix. If you're thinking about doing any of that, feel free to reach out to me, call, text, or email. I'm happy to help. Also, feel free to subscribe to my channel so you can keep up to date with all of my weekly videos, as well as follow me on social media so you can keep up to date there as well. Should you sell your house in Phoenix? Well, I'm going to start by saying it is a personal decision, but I'm also going to give you the facts that will help you understand if now is a good time. Before I say anything else though, yes, now is a good time to sell your house in Phoenix. We are in a seller's market and have been for a while. If you've watched any of my older videos, I've continued to hammer this point home week after week. We are in a seller's market in Phoenix and we continue to go further in that direction. That being said, the best time to sell is at the end of a seller's market before we turn into a buyer's market. Now, I don't have my crystal ball here today to tell you when that's going to be, but what I can say is we have come so far into the seller's market, it makes me start to wonder when things will turn the other direction. A few questions you'll want to ask yourself. Do you have equity in your house? If you're a homeowner, I'm sure you know what equity is, but for those of you that might not, that basically means the part of your house that you own. If you bought a house for $500,000 and you've paid your mortgage up to $200,000 at this point, then you should have $200,000 worth of equity in your home, assuming that it's still worth $500,000 or more. When did you buy your house? Was it 2011 when prices were really low, or was it in the last year when prices have continued to climb? Either way, we have steadily increased our prices here in Phoenix and appreciation has continued to rise as well. Both of those factors mean that you have equity in your home. Now, of course, this depends on a few other things. You need to make sure you're making your mortgage payments and there's no other issues. However, if you've been paying monthly and you bought a house in the last year or prior, you more than likely have equity in your home. I want to show you guys a few graphs to illustrate this information that I'm talking about. Here we have the monthly median sales price on a graph for Greater Phoenix. And you can see this has been a strong upward movement since 2011. We've continued upward with a few little cyclical dips along the way, but now we're at the very top of the graph at $320,000 as our monthly median sales price. This graph clearly illustrates that the median sales price has continued to rise since 2011. So no matter when you purchased your house over the last 9 years, you more than likely would be able to sell for a profit. Now this graph is taking a look at appreciation by price range. You can see that the y-axis shows the different price ranges and the x-axis is showing the percent of appreciation. Looking at this information, you can see that there's a couple outliers here. The price range between $200,000 to $225,000, as well as the price range over $3 million. Both of those have higher appreciation rates at 9.3% for over $3 million and at 7.9% over between $200,000 and $225,000. Keep in mind, appreciation on average moves at the rate of inflation, which is about 2 to 3% per year. So seeing these outliers, you can tell those are extremely high. We do also have a lot of appreciation in the other price ranges as well. You see quite a few in 4.1%, 4.5%, 5.3%, 3.9%. So the majority of price ranges here in Phoenix are actually appreciating faster than the rate of inflation. Those graphs help illustrate that appreciation has increased as well as our median sales price throughout Phoenix. But how does all of this happen? There has to be something in the market that creates pressure to move us in this direction. And the answer to that is supply and demand. I want to show you this chart that really shows the supply and demand in Phoenix and how they have trended over the last 10 years. Here you can see the supply is the red line and demand is the green line. Looking over towards the end at 2020, you can see that they are apart at this time and they're moving in two different directions. The demand index is moving upward and the supply index is moving downward. This is exactly what I've been talking about. Our supply continues to decrease while our demand continues to increase. The further that these two lines go from one another, while the green line is over the red line, home prices will continue to feel upward pressure. Now, if that scenario is flipped, look back to 2005. You can see that our supply was way higher than our demand, and that's what caused prices to fall. At this time, all we're seeing is prices continuing to rise and supply and demand going in a different direction. This table is showing the major cities in the Phoenix metro area and their annual average dollar per square foot change from last year to this year. You can see all of these have gone in a positive direction, except for two. Carefree was slightly negative, as well as Tonopah, hardly negative at all. But all of these cities have moved in a positive direction, increasing their annual average dollar per square foot from last year. Some of these are pretty large. Paradise Valley at 11.8%, Apache Junction at 10.5%, Eloy at 14.1%, and Tolleson at 11.3%. So over the last year, these prices have really increased. Just looking at this table should be enough for you to consider selling if you're even thinking about it at this time. Obviously, the price that you would get now compared to last year is significantly higher in almost every city in Phoenix. So all in all, there's a few things you need to look at. When did you buy your house and do you have equity in your house? What price point is your house in? Obviously, we can see different rates of appreciation in various price points. With that, we also see different levels of demand with different price points. Typically, anything under $500,000 at this time is selling relatively quickly. Anything under $300,000 is gone in a day. So if you're in any of those price ranges, it makes a lot of sense to sell as long as it makes sense for your lifestyle. The trick is, where do you go once you sell? Obviously, if you no longer have a house that you own and you're looking to buy something else, it might be a little bit harder for you to find something that you like just based on the slim options that there are right now. The silver lining though is you're likely going to be able to put a big check in your pocket for owning a home during a time where we've seen so much appreciation in this market, having equity and being able to sell that asset and cash out. Now, I know this is a big decision, so if you're on the fence and wondering, what could I even get for my home if I decided to sell it? Reach out to me. I'd be happy to give you an estimated home value, a number of days on market on average, as well as a net sheet that's really going to lay out the sale price of your home minus any other costs to you throughout the process of selling your home. That will give you a good idea of what money you can leave with in your pocket. Aside from that, if you have any other questions about the market or just living in Phoenix in general, as always, feel free to reach out to me by call, text, or email. I hope this gives you some information to think about. Thanks for watching. I'm Caitlin McKeag with Berkshire Hathaway.